Hey Ryan, it looks like you are missing something really important for today's soccer match. What do you think that is?
Water.
Water? Water? You got it, buddy. How did you guess? All right, let's go. Hey friends, welcome to our YouTube channel here at sportconsumer.com. My name is Pete and I am the humble and most grateful owner and head researcher here at sportconsumer.com. Along with my team, we review over 3,000 products in 300 sports. Now, I am not an expert in everything. I know a little bit about a lot of things. I grew up playing sports, and soccer was one of my big sports. Played in the US, college soccer. And while I would like to say I know everything about everything, more of what I know is through a lot of research, and I'm hoping to save you that research. That's why we have this channel. So thanks for joining us today. All right, with that said, we're talking about soccer socks. All right, soccer socks seem almost like an afterthought for some people, but I'm telling you, super important piece of equipment. You need to consider it before you just realize you need to have it. All right, you've got to think a little bit about it, I would say, because there are lots of options out there, like in anything. All right, so what do you want to look for when you're first looking for a pair of socks? Well, let me just tell you a quick story. I know that when I was a kid and I played soccer, there were no synthetics. I mean, there was some types of cheap polyester, but mostly not. Mostly there was cotton that had some stretchability, but they just got shredded because the shin guards back in those days had spikes on them more often than now. I don't see any now like that, but back then that's the way they were. There was no Velcro to strap them on. They were just kind of like slip-ins, but they didn't fit very well, and they had spikes, and they kind of just to stay in place. So your socks would keep them in place, but the socks would get sacrificed after a few games. So things have changed since then, and we'll talk about shin guards later, but right now, socks. What are we looking for in a pair of socks? Well, the first thing I would suggest is stretchiness and synthetics. So technology and comfort have come a long way for just even over the last 5 to 10 years. So I would suggest sticking with a comfortable polyester spandex blend. That's going to be your go-to. Polyester, spandex, combination of the two, whatever. All right. The synthetics will give you an excellent blend of characteristics for both comfort and water management. A lot of the synthetics now will wick water away from your skin instead of just sort of let it wallow right beside your skin like the old style cotton socks or any cotton clothing. That's why you'll see most athletes with a synthetic type of a top on during their play instead of a cotton t-shirt style shirt. All right? They don't, the water just sort of sits on you. All right, so socks are the same thing. Okay, so the next thing to consider is how you're going to wear your socks. What I mean is that there's two main styles of how people wear their socks. One of them, probably the more common one, would be a traditional knee-high style, and that is socks that come over your shin guards and they go a little bit further yet, sometimes a lot further, like up to your knees. It just depends on personal preference. And the other kind is kind of a crew cut look, which is your socks barely, you wear minimalist shin guards, and then your socks barely cover the shin guard, and they don't go up even like a quarter of an inch past the shin guard itself. The crew cut style is something that offers a tiny bit less protection, and it really is a minimalistic look. So if you want to look like you're not even wearing shin guards, or that you're not really like, you know, decked out for soccer, then that's the look you want. Most pros still stick with the more traditional look, but there are more and more people going for a crew cut style. All right, so the next issue we want to address is blisters. Now, blisters, people automatically think they come from shoes. The shoes don't fit, the shoes are too big, too small, whatever. And that's kind of true, but it's kind of like maybe 50% true, because blisters, well, in the case where you're wearing socks, it usually takes two to tango. It's a combination of your socks and shoes, a bad combination. Sometimes socks can be too slidey and your foot can slide around a lot and you can get blisters, and there's different ways that you can get blisters. So it's just, you want an all-around nice snug fit, and what you don't want is to have a pair of socks for your kids that they will grow into. I am a parent and I'm just as guilty as anybody for, hey, these are really cool looking shoes. They're a little bit too big, but you know, they're gonna grow into them. Grow into them. Grow into them. Okay, you see that a lot. A lot of parents think that way, and it makes sense, right? For the economy of your family. The problem is that it can cause problems to have socks that are too big, especially if you'll notice there's a heel right there. It's a very distinguishable heel on this sock. It's not like a tube sock or anything like that. This is a very specifically sized fit sock. And if it's too big, you're gonna have this bunch of material on your heel that's like halfway up the back of your leg or up on your ankle. And again, that can cause problems. Too big or too small, that's gonna ultimately cause problems. So don't buy something they're gonna grow into, because by the time they do grow into it, the season will be over, and when the next season comes, they'll have grown out of it. Oh, that would hurt. Okay, so I know I've been harping on you guys about getting the proper size and fit of a sock. I can't stress to you how important that is. It's super important. If your sock is too big or too small, professionals have known for years that will stress your foot eventually, probably sooner rather than later. My son Ryan has a pair of socks that are from last year. They're a little bit too small, and he's being a trooper for the video, but in fact, it's already starting to hurt his foot. In fact, when he put them on for the first time this year, he's like, Dad, these hurt my toes. So they actually do cause problems in the, well, both short and long term. Now, when you buy the socks, one of the easiest way to get them is via Amazon. And they will, I mean, the return policy is amazing, so you can always return them if they're not perfect, but there is some leeway. So like, just look at the basic size of your kid's foot or your own foot, and you should be fine. I mean, there's some stretch there, but if it's a couple of sizes off, you know that, yeah, it's not something that you should have to suffer through and keep, all right? So get the right size. You'll notice that this has a very specific heel on the sock there, so you can't just kind of fudge it and use any sock you want, because it's a very specific fit. In fact, the issue of proper fit is such a big deal that many professionals and even semi-pros and in amateur leagues, when they're given a pair of socks that fit their team colors, they're not necessarily the perfect sock for them. And so some people get so into the proper fit that what they'll do, and this is not uncommon, they'll actually hack off the bottom of their team sock, put on and like sew onto the bottom of them a sock that fits them really well, that they really like, so that they still have the team colors up top, but down low is something that really works for their foot. So it's not a bad idea if you're into you know, crafting and craftsmanship. You can do it yourself, you can get somebody to do it, and that will give you the ultimate fit if it matters to have a particular color. All right, those are some tips that I have for soccer socks. And guys, if you are even remotely entertained or educated by such a video as this, I'd really love you to give me a thumbs up, and if you subscribe, that would be even more appreciated. And we're here every week bringing you new tips from sportconsumer.com, new products. Hey, by the way, I didn't tell you that you'll notice I didn't recommend any particular type of sock, and the reason I don't do that is because on sportconsumer.com we have, that's a review site. We review 3,000 products, and they're new every year, right? So the socks will change kind of every year. So I don't want to give you a particular name to buy right here on this video. I just want to kind of teach you to fish instead of giving you a fish, if you know what I mean. All right, that's what I want to do. I just kind of want to give you some tools to use to be able to buy the right sock, and then you can head over to sportconsumer.com when you get a chance and check out some of the socks that we have recommended for this year. All right, and by the way, before you leave, do not go to sportconsumer.com right at this moment. And you know why? Because I happen to know some secret that not many people know, and that is that YouTube does not like when people who are watching YouTube leave YouTube, like you. So what they want is view time. So what they want is for you to binge on my content, my most excellent videos, like those up there. If you got the time and you want to be mildly entertained by whatever I have to offer, you can check them out and then head on over to sportconsumer.com and get a chance. All right, thanks so much for stopping by, and I look forward to bringing you another video very soon. You know, you can always return it